Without further ado, man of the hour, I got Nolan here. Nolan, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule today. Before we begin, I do want to say we do have different people here taking some videography for the Coast YouTube as well as Nolan's YouTube channel. Hopefully everyone's okay with that. Please consider questions you'd like to ask Nolan at the end. Throughout the presentation, you can ask questions too, but we'll have kind of a Q&A format at the end for everybody to ask questions about his training. All right? Thank you, Nolan.
Hi, everybody. Hi, thank you for having me as a speaker. I'm honored to be here. I personally love Coast Fish Club. I appreciate everybody who comes to my store to support. We're a small business. I have a few employees, but by you guys coming in and supporting our local fish store, it definitely helps my family 100%. So I try to do as much as I can to help give back to the hobby, give back to the community by having sales, donating different items. I'm 100% on board to support Coast Fish Club for as long as we're around. So I just want to thank the board for having me. I want to thank Ross for approving me to be a speaker, and Ricky as well. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate being here. It's an honor. So I'm going to talk about my journey, where I started, and how I got to own a fish store. Let's see. Supposed to move on to the next one. So I started back in 1998. I was a senior in high school, and I got my first aquarium from Petco. It was a 60-gallon aquarium. I wanted to set up a community fish, so I got that special package, and I went to my local fish store, and I went in there, and sure enough, the owner convinced me I had to have a flower horn. So this was in 1998. So if you guys have been to our store, there are no flower horn at all in there. But that's where I started. I walked out with a male and female flower horn because they had little babies that were selling for $20 a piece. And I thought I would be rich by breeding these fish. So that's a picture from 1998. I had to pull that from the archives. So I was able to breed those flower horn after a few months, and I took the babies to the store, and soon I found out that those babies, I would not be getting $20 bills for each of those 100 babies. So I had to pivot, and I just started keeping aquariums. I had to prepare for that. I probably put like 6 aquariums in my garage to plan for all these babies. And that didn't work out. So I started doing service. One of my friends, I would go visit him, and his mom had a dirty goldfish aquarium. And I felt bad for the goldfish, so I started offering her, hey, I'll help you clean your tank. And she decided to pay me $10 per service. This was in 2002 or so. So I just did it as a favor, and I started getting different accounts to help clean people's tanks. So I started doing service for maybe about 4 years or so. And I built that up just as a side hustle. And then I jumped into, actually, many of you guys don't know this, but I bought an aquarium store in Rowland Heights in 2007. So I bought that store. I was young and inexperienced, and I thought, because I love the fish hobby, why don't I just open a store? So I opened the store, or I took over the store. I purchased it in 2007, and I only had it open for about less than 2 years. The economy went down in 2008, and it was pretty rough. I did have a lot of accounts in dentist office and different businesses, but as those businesses closed, I lost those service accounts. So it was a tough time. It was a learning lesson. I lost a lot of money. I didn't know what I was doing, but I thought, hey, I love fish. Why don't I just open up a shop? I even back then would go door to door early in the morning and put my business cards on people's doors. I probably passed out 1,000 business cards. I still don't think I got any business from it. But back then it's different than now, like social media. There wasn't social media. But I was in my 20s, so I had the energy to do it, working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day by myself. It was rough, but I closed my doors in 2009, and I don't have any pictures of it. So I really regret not having any pictures of that first store. It was called Passion of the Sea Aquarium in Rowland Heights. It was open I think in 2005. I bought it in 2007. So anyone in Rowland Heights area, you might have, did anyone ever go there? No? Okay, it was saltwater and freshwater. So I closed the store. I put the entire shop in my garage, and it took me about 3 years to finally sell everything. So I kept in the aquarium hobby. I still did my service on the side, and I started getting into African cichlids. And you can see here, I still have the bricks right here. I got that from Aquarium Co-op from Corey, and that has worked very well for me. I eventually started building it back up to about 40 aquariums in my garage, different sizes. I believe the one on the right is going to be the same aquarium with lights. And I started getting into African cichlids. African cichlids, they're very colorful, they're very active. In my opinion, they are pretty easy to breed. They're mouth brooders, so they hold their babies in their mouth. I think that was really cool and fun. I know there's a lot of African cichlid people here. So I started getting into Africans, and in my garage, I ended up with almost 30 different breeding colonies. Breeding pure strains, breeding OBs, making hybrids with dragon bloods and OBs. And I started going to fish stores and trying to sell my fish to them, but they didn't know me, and there was a disconnect with me and the fish stores. So I didn't know what I would do. That's why I'm just so thankful for Coast Fish Club. I'm thankful for everybody here that breeds fish and comes to me to sell their fish. I'm always welcoming to buy fish from you guys, because I know your husbandry is good. You take really good care of your fish, and I'd rather buy from our local breeders here in the club than have to import fish. So I ended up with about 30 breeding colonies, and I was overwhelmed with cichlids, and one of my buddies happened to take over a store in Monrovia called Monrovia Tropical Fish. So I went to go work for him for maybe around 3 years, and that's what I should have done in the first place. Instead of buying a store, you can leave it there. Instead of buying a store, I should have went to go work to learn all the ins and outs, what to do, what not to do, and I did learn a lot from working there. So if there's anybody here that wants to open a store one day, it is a lot of work, and I would recommend that you go work in a fish store to learn what to do and what not to do. You just leave it there. So after learning all of that, I decided to open up Nolan's Aquarium, I guess 2.0. One of my friends has a lot of businesses, and he said he had an empty warehouse in Santa Ana, and I kind of thought about it, and my garage was filled, and I just said, let's do it. So I went and visited this warehouse. I wasn't sure. My previous store was in a strip mall, and there was a lot of cars going by, a lot of business, but the rent was high. So at my location now, the rent is a little bit less, being in an industrial area. I'm sure, have you guys, your first visit to my store, you probably thought you were lost. But as soon as you guys made it in there, I know you guys got familiar, but it does cut down on some of the expenses. And I continued my brick rack system here, just 100% because of cost. And I started to build out the aquarium, literally brick by brick. All these bricks were in my then Forerunner and my Honda Pilot, and any sales that I made, it would go directly to buying more bricks and buying more 2x4s. And I pretty much, my whole garage, I moved it into the store, and I had a storage unit with aquariums, and it barely filled maybe 30% of the shop. So my first year, I would say maybe 70% of the shop was empty. I didn't have a quarantine. I didn't have a second room. It was just empty. And luckily, my wife I'm blessed to have an amazing wife who pretty much held down the house and supported my dream of having a store for the first year and a half until I could actually bring home some money and support my family. But if you guys are thinking about opening up a fish store, it's tough to get rich from opening a fish store. I do love it, but there's not much money in it. But I was fully invested and I had to keep going. So there is a former member of Coast Fish Club. He's no longer with us, but you guys can see in this middle picture here, Dave Mosher, a good friend of mine. He knew I was trying to build out the aquarium, and he's like, hey Nolan, I have these old aquariums from the 1980s. If you want them, you can take them. So in that middle section there, you can see them with the brown trim. To me, you guys can correct me, but I feel if I see a tank with brown trim, I feel like it's from the 1980s. So I went to go look at them, and I asked them if they were from World War II, but they don't leak. The glass is super thick, fully functional. So filled up my car a couple trips. He gave them to me. That was a blessing, and I started building out my quarantine area. Here's some more pictures here. This is the main room. To the left, that's where the register is. And as I started making sales, I just kept on building and building, and I was by myself for maybe the first year and a half before I had some people that I hired, and I was lucky enough to hire some good people, hobbyists, to help me out. In the middle picture there, you can see all those 20s that are on top. You kind of can't really see if there's brown trim, but I still have those tanks right now, and they're still holding water. Let's see right here. In the middle picture there, you guys might recognize that gentleman, Ben O. He is a YouTuber. He came by the shop and recorded a video. And so to fill out the shop, whatever money I was making, I kept putting it back into the shop. On the right picture there, that cube that you see that's now in the cichlid room, I got that one off of Craigslist, and I was a little weary if it would hold water, but I've had it now for probably 7 years, and I'm waiting for it to leak, and it still has not leaked. And that's a tank with brown trim. So those tanks are built very well. And just fast forwarding a little bit, 2020, COVID hit, and I believe I was there for a few years, and I had a tough decision. I know in 2020, all of us were unsure what's going to happen with the future of the world, and my lease was ending probably in a few weeks. So I had to make a tough decision. Do I want to shut down? What's going to happen? All my fish going to die? I didn't know what to do. So luckily enough, I made the decision. I signed a 3-year lease, and I was nervous, and then everything got shut down. And thankfully, I believe the aquarium hobby kind of started booming again. And people had their aquariums in their garage that maybe they didn't use for 5 to 10 years. And people started, hey, I'm stuck at home. Let me bring out my aquarium, or let me get a new aquarium. Let me get a new tank. So business started going up for us. And we were only there for a few years. And I didn't know which direction this business was going to go. But I'm pretty sure some of you here came by the shop, and maybe you guys got back into the hobby in 2020. I think a lot of people did, and that really helped solidify us. During that time, normally you guys know we keep our front cage closed. We were only, people could order online. They would drive up to the shop, and we'd put our stuff into their trunk. So the store was locked, and I literally was like weighing stones for people and putting it in their truck, in their trunk. But it was tough. But the business started booming, and it was a great thing. And I think that really allowed us to get like a foothold and solidify ourselves as a local fish store in Orange County. All right, so here's some more pictures here. All of these systems here, I know it looks like an electrical nightmare. I know some of you guys at home, you guys have me beat on this. I won't name names. I've seen pictures on the Facebook page. But I was setting up here, getting all these systems down, measuring, and I've actually changed a lot of this. I've painted the back panels of tanks. I don't have any auto water change systems or anything like that. It's all done by American Muscle, but we change water very often. All right. There's some other people I film I haven't beat. I'm not going to name names. But here on the picture on the left, that's that cube tank that's still going strong. We had put some, that's the African cichlid room. The second picture there is the second room where we have mostly community fish. That was maybe a couple of years in. I didn't even have tanks there. And it was literally, I would make trips to Home Depot probably every maybe 3 weeks. And I would get more bricks. I don't know how many, I should count how many bricks I've bought from Home Depot. And a couple years later, I realized I could just order a pallet and have them deliver it. So that was a fumble on my part. That might be why my Forerunner's not around anymore. But so brick by brick, I built it from the support of hobbyists. And those are pictures of Dave Mosher's tanks that are still going strong. I think only one leaked out of the 20. So pop quiz, I guess I already answered that for you guys. So this is that main room right here, and just building stuff. Right there on the picture on the right, that's our quarantine area. When I first started the shop, because like just rewinding a little bit, I was so into African cichlids. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to bring my 30 breeding colonies here and sell African cichlids, sell good quality fish. And as soon as I opened, people asked me, Nolan, I need some plants. Nolan, I need some tetras. I need some chili rasboras. People still are asking for chili rasboras right now, but I had to make a change, and I had to, African cichlids weren't as much of a demand as nano and community. I think because of COVID, the hobby kind of changed a little bit. I remember, in the 90s, bigger is better. People always judged you by how big your tank is. Now it's kind of, I can't remember the last time I sold a 60-gallon tank, but we do sell a lot of 5, 10s, and 15 gallons. And I think that's, right now, that's what people want. They want to put something, they want to put nature in their home, and it's a lot easier to put a 5-gallon planted tank in your house than a 75-gallon African cichlid tank. So I had to make an adjustment, and one by one, I sold off my breeding colonies of cichlids, and that back room right there with all those small tanks, that was supposed to be for all my African cichlid fry. And that changed into quarantine. 100%, all the fish that I get, I quarantine them just to make sure I'm giving out healthy specimens to our customers. That's just the way I practice business. I want to be honest with our customers. I'm sure you guys know that. I don't want to just get a fish that's imported from across the world and sell it. I don't believe in doing business like that. A lot of people that come into the store aren't veterans like everybody here. Some people don't even know to float a bag. They'll just open the bag and dump all the water into their tank. So those are things that I believe, we have to, as a store, as a business, we have to educate people how to take care of their fish tanks. You're spending a lot of money setting these tanks up. Your livestock, you keep on adding fish, that adds up. And these good practices are things that we like to teach and let people know. Let's see here. So now I have to go with what is popular in terms of selling. So I had to sell off a lot of my African cichlids. So now the back room is just quarantine. A lot of the stuff that we get is imported. So if there's any local breeders here, I know we might have 1 or 2 breeders in this room. If you have not sold us fish, I'm telling you guys now, if you're breeding anything, please let us know. I would love to buy from you guys and not have to import fish. I want to say there's probably like 12 people I can recognize right now that I bought fish from. I love to buy fish from you guys. I love to support you. I love to keep the aquarium hobby going and thriving. And especially now with tariffs and stuff going up, I think you guys should understand that breeding locally, it's in your benefit, and fish costs have gone up, definitely. There's no more $1 neon tetras. I believe. Neon Tetras are far from being $1 each. I guess maybe some places might have them for that. So I'm still going to talk a little bit more, but are there any questions that anybody has over what I've gone over so far? Yes, Ria. So in my first store in Roland Heights, when I bought it, half the store was salt and half was fresh. I'm sorry, 1/3 of the store was salt and 2/3 was fresh. And I will tell you, the salt section brought in a lot more money than the freshwater section, but my expertise is in fresh. And when I opened this store, I had to make a decision. And like I said earlier, I wanted to go all Africans. So looking at the space, there just wasn't any room for salt. I'm still tempted now, but in the future, if we do relocate, if we do open the building next door and expand, we might go to salt. But fresh, that's where my heart is. I will say, in that first store, 1/3 of it was saltwater. I do know about saltwater, but that wasn't my expertise. So when I took over the store, I had to go buy saltwater fish, and I didn't know what the market was. That was one of my mistakes in taking over that store without being educated. I went to the wholesaler. They had a special on yellow tangs, so I bought 30 yellow tangs because they were on special, and I didn't know I would sell 1 yellow tang a week. So, you know, not buying the right fish, that definitely hurt. So, yeah, if we expand maybe in the future, we will do salt, but I think the freshwater hobby is thriving right now. So at our store, I believe I've been blessed to hire good people. You can see in this picture there, most of you guys know the people that work for me at the shop. I like to develop a culture there. We like to hang out and do fun things and just have good vibes at the shop. Hawaiian Fish Keeper, my buddy, he's a great guy. I'm so happy I've got him to come down here and partake in Aqua Swap. He's excited. I've been talking to him on the phone. He's actually coming down with his son, and they're going to try to catch a Dodger game before Aqua Swap. So I hope that's going to work out well for him. But I personally, just as a store owner, I believe in being honest and selling a good product and trying to educate people. I don't want to just buy and sell. So I think just me being honest with people and trying to educate, I think playing the long game, that's going to 100% benefit us. I don't want to be that type of store that just imports fish and sells. That's one thing that I learned working at the previous store, which is no longer there, Monrovia Tropical Fish. I remember I went there on a Saturday morning and a customer came in super pissed off because the day before the owner sold him a $1,500 saltwater aquarium, and he walked out with the tank, he walked out with fish, and he came back Saturday morning pissed off because everything was dead, and I had to put all the pieces back together with that sale. And then from that point, I was like, I'm not just going to lie or trick people into buying fish. Sometimes people will come in and they want to walk out with a tank and fish and set up for themselves or kids, but I have to tell them you need to cycle your tank. There are ways to speed up that process, obviously, but for us, 100%, myself, my team, we're going to be honest, even if it means turning down sales, just to make sure that the customer is successful in the hobby and stays in this hobby for years, because I love this hobby, and I know everybody here, you want to keep enjoying this hobby. We want to see this club grow. Like I said earlier, this is the best fish club in Southern California. I'm excited to see the numbers grow. I'm excited to see new blood. I'm excited for the direction that this club is going. You know, the board is making great decisions with all the new events like Aquashella and different stuff like that. Ricky's doing a great job in keeping this club relevant and just being something exciting. If you guys come into our shop, you can see Coast is blasted everywhere. Customers come in, and it's great because when I had my first store, Passion of the Sea, Coast was around, but I didn't know anything about Coast. And there was just that disconnect. But now there's community. I love seeing so many familiar faces. That's why I want to give 15% off to all Coast members. I want to be able to just have some sort of community. I love coming in here and just, you know, chatting it up with familiar faces. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think is there one more clip here? Yeah, so all these great events that have been going on the last couple of years, I'm proud to be a part of it and give my input and help the club grow, because you guys, like I said earlier, have helped my family. You guys have helped my family survive, my business survive. So me giving a little bit back, 100%. I'm gonna be here as long as we're around. I love supporting Coast Fish Club. So with that being said, are there any questions? I know there's a couple questions on here, but I would be happy to answer anything that you guys may have.
Over here.
Yes.
I got two.
Okay.
When's Medaka Fest this year?
So Medaka Fest is still in the works, but I will say 100% it's going to be bigger and better than what it was last year.
I
So,
have a question. You mentioned an expansion potentially in the future.
Yeah.
Is that leftward or is that rightward in the?
So where I'm at, on each side of me, there's a business that has been there for 20 to 30 years. But on the other side of them, those units are empty.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just kind of thinking about things and, financially, if it's the right move, but I'm locked into my lease right now for a little over 2 years. So things are trending upward. I feel the hobby is still thriving. So I think it's a great time to possibly expand. So we'll see what's in the future for the store, but I definitely like the direction things are going.
And you'd prefer to go that route rather than find a different location?
Well, I'm locked in for a little over 2 more years. So, in a year and 9 months or something, I might start thinking about expanding, maybe adding a saltwater section, maybe adding some RO water. That would be nice. Definitely have some good thoughts, but we'll see what the future holds. Question right here.
What's your favorite new product in the store right now?
So favorite new product in the store. If you guys, we're big on social media. We've gotten a lot of new products in that you guys have, maybe other stores have, but we're not the biggest store, but I feel we have a lot of quality stuff in there. All the products that we have, 100%, I believe they are good products. I don't try to carry cheap food, cheap filters. These are items that I've used myself, and I 100% support the foods we sell, the filters, the brands we sell are all quality products. But to answer that gentleman's question, I'm excited about having Owase filters in store. I don't know if you guys knew that, but we just started carrying Owase. We also started carrying Carib Sea. And we also, for us, this is a huge deal. Most fish stores probably already have this, but we just got, and I'm so excited about, might be calling me a nerd, but we have a new freezer in our store. A lot of you guys probably didn't know that we sell frozen food. So yeah, so we have a freezer there and we sell frozen food with a big, ugly, rusted, white door. And it has frozen food name on it, but we hardly sell frozen food. So I decided to step up our game, and now we have a beautiful double door freezer, glass doors, and we have a full line of frozen food in there. Frozen food's great to feed your fish. And yeah, it has lights and it's nice and shiny. So we're super excited about having that. And like I said, other stores may have 1, 2, or 3 of those, but we're a small business, and for us, that's a huge upgrade for us, a huge upgrade. So we are a small local fish store. So, I feel it's great to support small businesses, and every time you guys come by all means, I honestly feel I'm very thankful to be partnered with Coast Fish Club. And I feel a lot of people will come in and they don't want to tell me they're part of Coast, or they don't let me know, and they don't care. You guys don't care to get your 15% discount just because you appreciate, supporting our store. But I really don't mind giving 15% off fish and plants, because it's kind of like a give and take. I don't mind doing that for you guys because you guys are coming in to support us. So yeah, those are kind of my new favorite products. Oh, sorry, right here.
How do you do your water changes if you don't have a system?
So how do we do our water changes if we don't have a system? So we use American Muscle, and we have hoses And depending on what's in that tank, we're gonna manually water change it. We try to do it off hours, but for the most part, it's done during the slow days. And depending what's in there, African cichlids, we're probably water changing them once a week. Community fish, probably maybe every 10 days. So we do a lot of water changes in there, but it's all done by hand. You have a question?
You said 15% or 50?
For the discount? 1.5. I did have a day where we had 50% off fish. Some of you guys came in there. I think Dodgers won the World Series. Yeah, so once we three-peat, stay tuned for that 50% off. And Steve, you better be there then when it's 50% off. I'm going to be looking for you.
Are they dead or alive?
They're alive.
They're alive, okay.
Yes.
What would you say was your biggest mistake since you opened up the LFS?
My biggest mistake since I opened up the recent store?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I would say my biggest mistake is, it's tough because I don't know if not having enough finances is a mistake. I knew that's what I wanted, and it would have been nice to have another like $20,000 or $30,000 to be able to fill out the store, but it was tough having customers come in, and that first year was super slow. People would come in and I had maybe 12 tanks with fish set up because that's all that I could afford. You know, when I get a shipment of fish, we might drop a couple $1,000s, and that might only be for a few boxes of fish. So if you guys are looking to open up a store, you know, you definitely need to have some finances to back you up, because our store is 1,600 square feet. It's not tiny, but it's not huge. So a few $1,000s is literally nothing. So I wish I would have just had more financial backing, but I had a lot of tanks, I had a lot of equipment, and yeah, I just wish I would have had more finances to be able to not struggle as much as I did, because the first 2 years were a struggle. Everything that was coming in, it went right back into the store, and I had to do that for over a year. So that was a struggle. But luckily, like I said, the hobby's thriving, and I think people definitely like supporting their stores. Go ahead.
How many hours do you work a day now?
I feel spoiled to say, but in store right now, I go to the store probably maybe 4 days a week. And I work at the store 4 days a week right now. I'm so thankful because I work 7 days a week, probably, you know, for 5 years straight. But, you know, now that I'm older, I'm in my 40s. I forget, how old am I again? 44. Okay. I'm sure once you, okay. So, with that being said, I don't know if you guys have heard the term Unk, but my guys at the shop call me Unk, and I had to look up what that is. But to my team at the shop, I'm probably to them in my 60s or 70s. Because my whole team is pretty much in their 20s, you know, and a couple of them are in their 30s. But I guess it makes me feel wiser. But now to answer your question, I'm there in store probably 4 days a week. But just because I'm not there definitely doesn't mean I'm not working. I'm literally traveling all over Southern California, picking up fish, picking up supplies, picking up from vendors. The last couple days, I probably traveled 130 miles each day to pick up from UNS, to go to LAX to pick up fish, to pick up from Lifeguard, to pick up from local breeders. I had to go rescue some plecos that someone dumped at a tire store the other day in a bucket of green water. I didn't even get to finish that story. But somebody called me up and said, hey, Petco told me to call you. There's a bucket in front of my tire shop, and someone left 2 big black fish in there. And it was pouring rain, and I was already late to the shop. I had a carload full of like $5,000 of product, and I dropped what I was doing. I went in the rain, went to go see the bucket, and it was green. I put my hand in there, and it was Trinidad, you know, your common pleco. They had a bunch of sores on the body, and the owner was pissed. He was like, why would someone do this? So I don't know. So took the green bucket, took it to the shop, took out the big pleco. And he said they were only 6 inches. I love how people say, oh, I'm going to bring in a 6-inch fish, you know, or they want to donate a fish or something. And then the plecos were probably maybe a foot. So I took them in, put them in the tank, put some meds in there, and the plecos are still there, doing great. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm in store probably 3 or 4 days a week during the week. And luckily, like I said, I have a great team that I trust and is very knowledgeable to fill out those gaps. There was one more right here, right here.
What percentage of your fish purchases are local versus non-local?
So what percentage of my fish purchases are local and not local? So if you go into our store, we have stickers that say locally bred. I need to update that because we have a lot more locally bred fish that's actually posted. So I would say probably, unfortunately, maybe 10% to 15% are locally bred. The rest we have to import. So you guys here, as local breeders, I 100% am telling you there is a demand if you guys want to breed fish. It doesn't have to be a specific strain of guppy. It doesn't have to be a specific pleco. It could really be anything. I'd rather buy from you guys than have to import it. They have to fast it, ship it across the world, pay for those shipping fees. I'd rather, you know, pay you guys and support your hobby. So to answer your question, I would say maybe 10 to 15, somewhere in there. And that's jumped up a lot, I will say, because of Rhea. She's actually, I get a lot of my stuff from her, and all of her stuff comes right in. I know where it's coming from. I've been buying from her for years, and all of her fish do great in our water.
He's also the reason why I have a business. Nolan was the first person to buy fish from me. I remember I came in with my bag of angels, offering him a free sample, and he was like, I love working with local breeders, and it's why I have a business now. And, his trust in my product and giving me a chance is why I'm here at Coast and why I have a garage full of plants. Thank you, Nolan.
Yes.
I wanted to give you 2 praises. One, you hire great guys who always seem like they're happy to be there and they're friendly.
Yeah.
I say he hires great guys who who appear to be happy to be there. They're very pleasant to deal with. I've seen them under stressful situations, and they hold their cool very well. Also, my kids love coming to your shop. My kids don't like going to any other shop, but as soon as I tell them I'm going to Nolan's, they're in the car already. So you do a great job and keep making sure the next generation is interested in the hobby.
Yeah, 100%. I think they're probably just there to see Jerry, but you know.
That's part of it too. They love seeing Jerry.
Yeah, we upgraded Jerry, so now he has an awesome new tank that is a lot better than what we had him in before. Is there another question? Over here, yes.
Are you going to bring more signing bricks to other events?
So signing bricks, we brought some bricks to Aquashella, and we're moving some stuff around in the shop, so I am going to put those bricks we took to Aquashella. That was thought about by Fernando over there to bring those bricks. I thought that was a great idea. Unfortunately, we forgot to tell people to sign those on Saturday. So all of those signatures were pretty much from Aquashella on Sunday, but they did get filled up. So we're going to put them in a nice spot in the store just to kind of remember that, because I will say Aquashella was huge for us, and I think for the community, for the hobby in general. I was disappointed they're not going to be here for 2026, but I'm pretty sure they'll be there for they better be there for 2027. So I think there was a lot of support. I don't know why people would want to have it in New Jersey versus LA, but yeah, we will have more bricks to sign. Anyone have anything else?
There's a question on the lineup. It's what would you be doing if not running over?
So if I wasn't working in the industry, I'd probably be batting right after Shohei Ohtani. I really don't know what I would be doing. That's a very interesting question. I've been asked that before, but I've been in this hobby since right out of high school. I just, did it as a side hustle. So I've been in this hobby for, you know, over 25 years. So I really don't know what I would do. So great question there. What are some suggestions I can offer for hobbyists? I would say do research and take it with a grain of salt. It's great to go into fish stores and ask questions. We're the type of store that will answer your questions. So back then you have to open up a book or a magazine to get information. Now all that information is at your fingertips. So I would say do research. I don't want to say it's a bad thing, but some people come into a fish store and say, I want a tank, what do I need? And I'm already kind of like frowning upon that because I kind of feel bad for the animal they're going to put in their tank. A mom came in with her daughter a week ago and wanted to get an Aranda that was around 4 inches. And I asked them what size tank they had, and they said they had a 3-gallon. And they wanted to know how many fish I can put in there. They can put in there. And I was like, I was honest with them. And I said, you can probably keep it in there to quarantine it, but you really want like a 20-gallon at least to put in, 1, maybe 2 if you keep up with your water changes. And the daughter really wanted that nice, cute Aranda to put in there. So I had to be honest with them and say, I don't recommend this. So I don't know if they thought maybe I was just trying to sell them a tank, but do your research. These are animals, and you want to give them a good home. And if you have questions, by all means, you can message us on social media. You can come in and talk to us, and we would kind of give you our thoughts, but take it with a grain of salt. There's also a lot of experts here that can tell you and give you advice. That's why I like to recommend people to come to the meetings here, because you can make friends and you can talk to experienced people about plecos, about cichlids, about cories, about guppies, about all kinds of things. There's a lot of people that can help here. I don't go on Reddit, but a lot of people get their information on Reddit, and I don't think they give the best advice on Reddit, even though I heard we have good reviews on there. Don't just take your information from one source. All right, anything else?
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Do you have more than just a business relationship with Aquarium?
Sorry, do I have a more
More
than?
than just a business relationship with Aquarium, because I know you sell their products.
So we started selling their products, I think maybe 3 years ago. It's just a business relationship. I mean, their products sell well. I was happy to get their products in store. I love that brand because there's videos on all the products that they sell. So that's where you can get information. People come in to get a co-op product and they don't just want their Easy Green. They want their tweezers, they want their root tabs, they want all their stuff because they've seen a video with information showing them how to use it. So I love their products. We'll keep selling them for sure. I think there was another one.
A little bit about your egg tumbler setup.
Oh yeah, so this is when I had closed my first shop, and I got into African cichlids, and it actually started because of my daughter. My cichlids bred, and the mom was holding eggs in her mouth, and I opened the mouth up, and those babies came out, and I was like, okay. And my daughter's like, no, you need to raise those babies, and she was like, adamant about it. So because of her, I just started getting into it, and I just thought it was really cool. Just the African cichlid breeding mouth brooders. I just thought that was really awesome. I know there's African cichlid breeders here. Egg laying and stuff like that is just kind of boring to me. So those egg tumblers, you can put the eggs in there and you can watch them grow out as they eat that egg sac. And I do want to throw one shout out to Paul and Francine. I met them when I was in my garage selling some items, and I think they came in probably after a coast meeting, and they were getting, I think I had goldfish. I had a lot of goldfish, and they came in and they told me about Coast, and that's where I first ever heard about Coast, was because they were there telling me about it. And I didn't know anything about it, but eventually when I opened up my shop, I knew I had to get involved with the community, because you guys are really a lifeline to keeping our local fish stores alive. So not just my store, but all local fish stores. And for me as a hobbyist, that was one of the fun things to do, was go check out a fish store. Go look and see what new cool fish they have, what plants, what tanks, what's going on, because looking at stuff online, you can only see so much. So I used my wife's, what is that, a bobby pin? Is that what it's called? So I started stealing her bobby pins, because after a couple months they rust, so I gotta go grab another one. So that was my secret tool. I didn't want to tell anybody about that back then, but I did some videos and I shared it. But I don't like looking at people using a toothpick to do that. But yeah, I use the bobby pin. These are egg tumblers. These guys are maybe 12 days old. You can see the tails starting to develop. And that was in my house. The male was a dragon blood, and those are some OBs that I created, a cool dragon blood OB hybrid. All right, everybody, yes.
Just a question about that. With the cichlids, when their jaws hang all the way
Yeah.
down and it's full. We saw a video here in Vietnam where they just had whole tanks ready and then just shake them like that.
Yeah.
But, and I have a bunch of females with it, but the expert here won't do that. He's not going to take a chance on hurting their mouth. Would that work?
So there's pros and cons to doing it. The way I do it, that would speed up the process. The female also isn't eating for that 3-week period. So she's getting weak, getting skinny, and in the tank of the breeding colony, she could get scared or spooked and bolt across the tank, and all the babies can come out and they might get eaten. So in nature, that's what happens, and maybe a few survive out of the 40 or 50. So my process is pulling them out quick to maximize the survival rate. So by not what we call stripping the female, kind of letting nature take its course, if you just put them in an all-female tank, that'll probably be okay too, but just personal preference.
Are you pressuring when you just hold the mouth open? Are they all falling out like that? Or are you kind of?
The females that are more experienced, that have bred a good amount, usually when I'll do that, they'll all come out. But the ones that are less experienced, the first few times, they kind of hold it back in. So, and as they get more experienced, they're gonna have more eggs. So sometimes, you have to do it a few times. Yeah. Any others? All right, everybody. I think that's about it.
Thank you again, Nolan. This was a really great talk. How many of you, raised show of hands, knew Nolan had a store before this store? Not very many, huh? Yeah, pretty cool. What was it called, Nolan? I like the name.
It was Passion of the Sea Aquarium in Roland Heights, off of, it was on Colima, I believe off of Nogales. And they, when times got tough, business was tough, and I asked them like, hey, can you help me out with the rent? And they're like, oh, sure, we can lower the rent $100 a month. And I'm like, I'm not closing because of $100. So I ended up closing, and then that unit sat empty, I would say probably for a decade.
Missed opportunities. Landlords. All right, well, thank you again, Nolan. And if you guys haven't been, come check out Nolan's Aquarium. Come after the closed meeting. There's always some great stuff there. A lot of you already know and come by after the meeting anyways. But for those of you that haven't, come by and check out some of the new stuff that Nolan has put together at the store. There's more stuff coming, right?
Yep, definitely. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. All right, everybody, so I just finished my presentation here at Coast Fish Club. It was awesome. If you guys are interested in joining this club, they meet on the first Sunday of every month. You could follow them on social media at Coast Fish Club. It was a great time, and I hope to see you on the next one.